Big changes could be coming to the housing market, and they're tied to President Donald Trump's policy. Now, this is the stuff that you really need to know. In this video, we're going to be diving into how his policies, both past and future, could reshape the housing market in 2025. And most importantly, will housing prices finally go down? So here's all the possible scenarios, so let's dive in. Number 5, reducing regulations. Now, throughout his previous term, Trump's focus was on reducing red tape across industries, and real estate was no exception. When President Trump returns in 2025, we expect similar approach. This time could be significantly shifting the housing market landscape. Now, one of those changes could be loosening up zoning laws, and these laws decide what can be built and where. So relaxing them will allow developers to build more housing, particularly in urban areas with high demand. Now, opportunity zones were created under the 2027 Tax Cuts and Jobs Act that was signed into law by President Trump. Now, the first opportunity zones were designated in April of 2018, and we're sure to see new legislation that can help solve the housing shortage, but also increase the supply. And at the same time, this might be overcrowding neighborhoods and straining local resources like schools and other utilities. Next, there's the cutting back of environmental restrictions. Now, during his previous term, Trump rolled back several policies to speed up some construction projects and to boost industry. And if this trend continues, developers will see faster approval for large-scale housing projects, which again may help increase inventory. Right now, as a developer, you have to go through this lengthy, complex paperwork trail before you can even start construction. If those processes are simplified, things could move a lot faster and lowering costs, making housing more affordable. And we may see these changes in affect how neighborhoods will look and feel. Number 4 is tax incentives for real estate investments. Now, Trump likes the idea of lower taxes, and we might see new tax breaks encouraging real estate investments. This could be on all types of levels, and these tax cuts could be aimed at developers building more affordable housing and turning empty office spaces into apartments. And this can help deal with housing shortages, especially in places with higher demand for homes. Now, the idea is that developers are more likely to take on projects that add to the housing market if they have fewer costs. But the main question here is, will these tax breaks help regular home buyers? So everyday buyers and renters might not see much change if developers use this tax break to maximize their profits rather than focusing on affordable housing. But these policies may lead to more housing options, and it could make the market more competitive and lower prices. And this will really give buyers more affordable choices. However, a lot depends on how these tax breaks are applied and are planned, and whether developers will ensure that these projects generally benefit the communities that they're supposed to serve. Number 3, increased focus on homeownership. Now, we all know that Donald Trump is always talking about homeownership being part of the American dream, and this is something he's talked about from his previous speeches. With his return to office, we might see policy changes making it easier for first-time homebuyers to purchase homes. And there's also the possibility of efforts to bring down mortgage rates, which could also improve affordability for buyers. However, as promising as these ideas sound, we must consider the downsides. Making it easier for first-time homebuyers to enter the market could lead to more competition for homes all at the same time. And this means more buyers competing for a limited supply of properties. We saw this before, which might push prices even higher and eventually make affordability worse in some cases. So this is really a tricky situation. These policies could make it easier for many people to buy their first home, but it could also bring some new problems. Now, in places where there aren't enough homes to meet demand, more buyers competing for the same properties could make prices go a little bit higher. So while the focus of homeownership in theory sounds great, whether it actually works will come down to how these policies are actually carried out. So if they don't address the bigger issue, which is the housing supply, the benefits might not reach everyone who really needs them. Number 2 is private sector involved in the housing market. Now, we all know Trump is pro-business, which also will mean that it's likely to shape his housing policies in a big way as well. Now, he might make the private sector more involved in solving some of these housing issues. And these could be programs with private companies that work together with local governments to fund and build transitional housing projects or invest in long-term affordable housing solutions, especially in areas of high demand. But then again, will these projects focus on affordable housing? Or does this mean just more houses? So while private developers could play a significant role in increasing the housing supply, there's also the risk that these homes might not be built within the reach of the average buyer. Number 1, addressing homelessness and affordability in housing. Beyond tax breaks, potential focus could be expanding federal housing programs like Section 8. Now, this program helps lower income families afford homes in better neighborhoods. So if Trump revisits and boosts funding for it or introduces similar initiatives, it could provide more opportunities for those that are really in need. However, these programs would need strict oversight to make a real impact. And he might also look at converting used federal buildings into housing. We heard this before. Now, this solves two problems at once. First, you're turning used federal buildings into homes, which really adds much needed housing in urban areas where homelessness is often the most challenging. And then there's the idea of linking affordable housing to job programs, such as offering housing to people who are completing vocational training or working in public service. Now, this is a win-win situation if you want to help people get off the streets and also give them the tools to build their future. So the big question is will housing prices really go down? Now, it's hard to say for sure, but policies like reducing regulations and offering tax incentives and expanding homeownership programs might increase supply and create many buyer opportunities. However, these changes could also have their consequences, like increased competition for first-time home buyers and even raised demand. Now, it all comes down to how well these policies are balanced. So the focus on boosting supply and making housing affordable for all buyers, we could see some relief in this market. But if the market gets overheated with too many incentives, housing prices may remain the same or even increase. So let me know in the comments below, what do you think Trump's second term is going to be about? How do you think it's going to affect the housing market? And if you've watched this video so far, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe for more videos like this. If you have any questions or stories you'd like to share, put them in the comments below. I'm Jerry with Jerry Pincus Real Estate Experts. My team is here to help you find your hidden gem and to avoid those pitfalls that are costly. So if you're thinking of buying or selling property in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, or anywhere else in the United States, I can hook you up with the local real estate expert. Just give our office a call at 843-839-9870. My team and I have been doing this for the last 20 years, and we've seen the good, the bad, and the ugly. I just want to make sure you're not getting average, but you're getting way above average. I want you to have your best option when your time comes. So I'll see you in the next video. Take care, guys.